Well, hello, today I'm in Long Beach, California. One thing you'll notice is that down the freeways behind me here, because this is Long Beach, there's an extraordinary amount of container traffic moving north and south. And this is because the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are only a few miles that way, and all the containers need to go that way.
Clearly, something had to be done.
One thing you won't find clogging the roads, though, are trains, even though there are plenty of them. In fact, right behind me, here's a train that's stopped on its way waiting to get into the port. But you'll notice that, what does it do? Way back there. That's right, it goes underground.
This is the story of how Southern California replaced several low-speed rail lines with the Alameda Corridor.
This is the Alameda Corridor, named for the street that runs parallel to the train trench. The total corridor runs for about 20 miles, from the seaports up to the rail classification yards further inland, where train cars are sorted into the big container trains that crisscross the country, including in my hometown of Salt Lake City.
The transcontinental rail yards operated by Union Pacific Railroad and Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway.
Those trains are heading right across America.
The centerpiece of this corridor is the 10-mile-long trench, opened in 2002, which eliminated over 200 at-grade crossings, while at the same time creating a sealed, high-capacity rail corridor where trains could travel at up to 40 miles per hour without interference. Without this project, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, which handle about 1/3 of all container traffic into the United States, would not be able to function. The adjacent highways are already overloaded with trucks, and the older rail routes used to cut straight through local neighborhoods, causing unacceptable delays.
First of all, you have grade separation, which means you have safety for many of those young people who are going to school, for the residents who have to travel across those railroad lines. One other thing, in many instances, those train tracks divided cities and communities. By having it in a trench below grade, you brought together different communities and made them one and made it more attractive for the people who live there.
Now, cargo rolls from the ports to the classification yards without ever crossing a single road at grade. Trains are never slowed by local residents, and residents are never trapped by stopped trains or blocked crossings. A below-grade trench is an amazingly simple structure. First, a hole is dug using common construction equipment. Temporary shoring walls hold the adjacent ground in place while the floor of the structure is laid. Then, permanent retaining walls are installed up the sides of the trench. For many kinds of retaining walls, there would be a series of complicated tiebacks in order to hold the walls in place against the weight of the ground. But for a trench, this isn't necessary. Concrete beams, called buttresses, are installed across the top of the trench, which push back against the ground and hold the walls in place. These buttresses can even be used as bridge beams, so that roads, plazas, and even public parks can be built across the top, completely hiding the trains below.
The Alameda Corridor project proves that America works smart. The list of community benefits that came out of this project goes on and on. A 90% drop in noise pollution, a 54% drop in emissions from street traffic, and a 28% drop in emissions from trains.
Here in Salt Lake City, we have a similar issue to that in Long Beach, where our inland port is attracting new rail service from across the nation. But if we aren't careful about it, this could cause us some serious problems.
Problems arise when the loaded trains are moved from the port area to the classification yards that make up the mainline trains. Union Pacific has 2 yards in Salt Lake City, one to the north of the city called the North Yard, and one to the south called Roper Yard. To get to either of these yards, trains must travel directly across multiple busy downtown streets at grade.
These crossings on the west side of downtown rank among some of the busiest inside any North American urban core. Freight trains can stretch for literally 2 miles and can take dozens of minutes to get through a crossing.
And then there's traffic. 200 railroad crossings where drivers used to have to stop and wait, gone.
No longer will people have to be waiting sometimes up to 20 minutes for a train to go by, making them late for their jobs or an appointment.
Many of our fire stations are on the west side of the city, so if there's a train which is blocking the intersection, the fire department would have to go all the way to the 91 freeway to get around to the east side of the city. Because of the Alameda Corridor being below grade, it has helped alleviate some of the problems that we have regarding the safety issue with our citizens.
So what do we do to solve this problem? The trains themselves aren't the problem because it's really good that containers and people move by train. The problem is where those trains go. Wouldn't it be better to not have them in our streets?
Enter the Rio Grande Plan. The Rio Grande Plan is a citizen-led proposal calling for the return of trains to their historic corridor on 500 West Street. But this time, instead of being at grade, these tracks would be inside a train trench, like the Alameda Corridor, for just over 1 mile, beginning at 900 South. Not only is all the old right-of-way still there, but the old historic train station is still there too.
This is the Rio Grande Depot at the head of 3rd South in Salt Lake City. It is one of the largest historic train stations in the American West, and it carries with it a history and a grandeur that can never be replaced. It could and should be the next transit center for Salt Lake City, and not just because it is a quarter-mile closer to the downtown area than the current Salt Lake Central Station.
By moving all the train tracks and rail yards from their current places west of downtown and putting them in the new train box, we can open 50 to 70 acres of land for new downtown development, including new housing space. Hundreds of other nearby acres could be reactivated, as the freeway bridges, which would no longer be needed, could be removed and the surface streets could be reopened. According to a study performed by Utah State University, all of this activity will generate over $12 billion of investment in the state of Utah, making the Rio Grande Plan a self-financing proposal and a smart investment in the future of our state.
I think the lesson from this project is that we don't have to sacrifice the quality of life issues and our environment for the economic benefits of international trade.
Looking at the Alameda Corridor, we can all witness the beginning of something monumental, something to be proud of.
I think the other communities can learn that no matter how complicated a project appears on the surface, miraculous results can be accomplished.
We at Via Rio Grande are running a grassroots campaign to build awareness and support for the Rio Grande Plan. Together, we can set our city on the right track to eliminate grade crossings in our downtown and to eliminate all the congestion, divisions, delays, and fatalities that they cause. Where there's only urban blight, we can build neighborhoods, and we can take our historic train station and make it the centerpiece, once again, of a first-class public transportation system. If you can, please write to your elected representatives at the city, county, state, and federal levels and let them know that you support the Rio Grande Plan. If you can do more, please contact us at our website and let us know that you'd like to volunteer. Together, I know that we can build something that is truly grand. I'm Christian Linhart. Thank you for watching.